Okay, so we will start one basic question. Uh, in the last time itself, last session itself, I think we have written a program to generate only input numbers. So now we will more focus on some other programs like the base. Some of the commonly asked question is Fibonacci series. Um, I think most of them knows about Fibonacci series, like how to have a Fibonacci series. So I'll just overview about what is Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series is like you will have a specific pattern while generating numbers. Like if here Fibonacci series will be like adding the previous two numbers to generate the next number. So here if you see, first I will be having 0 and the next number is 1. These two constants is like these are the starting points. So adding these two number will give 1. So that will be my third number. So here if you see, my third number will be 1 by adding these two numbers. And here the previous two numbers are these, right? So adding these two number will give me output like 2. So that is my fourth number. Now the previous two numbers are this, so adding this two number will give 3. So that is my fifth number. And here adding these two last previous numbers will give my sixth number, which is 2 plus 3 5, and then 3 plus 5 8, and 8 plus 5 13, and 13 plus 8 21. So it goes on. So here my input will be a single number. For example, if my input is 8, I need to print the first 8 numbers in Fibonacci series. So for example, here I have totally 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 numbers. So these are all the first 9 numbers in the Fibonacci series. So if I'm giving a input like 8, my output should be this. My output should be like this. Okay, so how to approach this problem first? So basically, before approaching the problem, you have to think in a way where how many ways you can solve this problem, and which is an optimal way to solve this problem. Because obviously many can solve this problem, but who is giving this answer will be considered. Because as far as now, even the time complexity matters, because even though many processors with high clocks and even with high threads and high cores comes, ultimately the complexity of the problem will also increase. That leads to have a better time complexity of execution of our instructions. So we will mostly focus on the optimization of the solution which are given. So consider here, if you are seeing, as I said, as I already gave the explanation what is this about and what is the C program, everything. So here, as I said, in the main everything will start. So first, the input is a single number, like how many from starting, how many digits of Fibonacci series you need. So variable declaration is a main part here. So consider for now, I'm not assigning any variable for input part. So basically in the program itself, I will change the input part directly. So what are all the temporary variables which we needed? Because variable declaration is also leads to space complexity. If you declare more variables and if you're not using it, obviously it will occupy space in your RAM. And if it is not used, it's not an efficient way to program. So you need to declare variables in an efficient way. And obviously you need to use everything. Uh, in Java, we have a separate concept called garbage collector. Whoever knows Java, they know about that. But in C, unfortunately, the garbage collector are not that efficient in Java to actually erase the free memory. So obviously, we need to use variables in a limited fashion. So here, consider first I will write in a way, example. I have already told the first two numbers are actually constant. So first, obviously, I need a loop here because we don't know how much numbers from the starting to print the sequence of the Fibonacci numbers. So consider if it is 8, I'll be printing 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. And if it is 9, I will include 21. If it is 10, I will include 13 plus 21, that particular number. So obviously I need a loop because I don't know what will be the input. So I'll create a loop here, for loop. I'm declaring some variable. Consider my first 8 digits are needs to be printed. So I plus plus. Okay. So as I already know in the problem statement, I have told the first two numbers are constants. It will not change. So I can print the first two numbers outside the loop itself. So for example, here I'm printing like printf. Okay. The first two numbers are 0 and 1. Okay. Like I'll have like this. 0 and 1. These are all the two numbers. And after that, consider if my input is 8 and I already printed two numbers, how many numbers needs to be processed in the loop? The input is 8 and I already printed two numbers. How many numbers needs to be processed in the loop? Can someone answer the question? Do we need to process 8 times, or is it less, or is it more?
Answer.
Okay, answer is
10.
10. Okay. I will repeat my question. Totally, I need to print 8 numbers of the Fibonacci series. In the 8 numbers, I have already printed 2 numbers outside the loop. Okay. Remaining, how many numbers I need to process in the loop?
6.
6.
So I will be giving these 6 in the for loop. I could have printed this inside the for loop also, and I will change the input, which is 8. But you may think it is like giving, like printing the 0 and 1 inside the for loop is feasible, but here we can actually save some time, because if we are printing the 0 and 1 inside the for loop, it will cost an extra printf statement comparing here. If you see, I'm using only one printf statement to print 0 and 1. But if I would have used this inside the for loop, I would have used 2 times, because the loop will continue for 2 times. The loop will run for 2 times, and 2 times the printf will get executed for this 0 and 1. But by taking that outside will save me one cost of operation. So in this level itself, we can save time, and this level itself, we can optimize. Okay, so by this, we have saved one cost of operation. And after that, here, consider the first two digits I have already printed outside, and the remaining are 6, as you said. Then, normally for, as I said, uh, previous two numbers, I need to get it, right? So I already have these 0, 1. But in order to process it, in order to add, obviously I need to get it in a variable so that I can add it and I can print it. So obviously I need to use this inside a variable. 0 and 1, I need to have it inside a variable. So I will create two variables for holding this 0 and 1. So I will have integer a with 0 and B with 1. Okay. So now here I will print like %d with A and B. Okay. So now also it will print 0, 1, 1, but the change is previously I just bluntly print 0, 1, 1, but now I'm saving it in a variable, and after that I'm printing this variable. So now we are having a control over the numbers, the previous numbers, which is for now 0, 1, 1. So now inside the loop, I come inside the loop, and now what I'm thinking is, now I have A and B. So first what I will do, I'll print A and B. That means the addition of A and B, because that is the third number, right? So consider I'm printing %d with A plus B. Okay. So fine. 0 first it will print, 1 B it will print, A plus B, 0 plus 1, 1 it will print. Now the fourth number should be 1 plus 1, right? So my previous context should change. A and B are considering my previous context, right? So I need to interchange the values. I need to change the values from 0 and 1 to, like here if you see, 0 and 1 currently I'm having A and B. Now the third value, which is printed, A plus B. Now my A should change from 0 to 1, which is previously it was here, it was like this. Now it should be like this, right? So my A should transfer from holding transfer from 0 to 1. B also should come here. Then only I can process these two, and I will print this these two, right? So what I will do, I will have uh, what I can do is consider I can have a temporary variable for now. Okay. So what I will do here, first I'm setting temp equal to A, and then A equal to B, and then B equal to temp. This is the like a kind of swapping logic, default logic we will be using it. So if you see here, first 0 and 1 are in A and B, and I'm printing 0 plus 1, which is 1. Then I'm having like temp equal to A, which is what I can say is temp equal to A is temp equal to now 0, and A equal to 1. Okay, 1 is this. Okay, then B equal to temp. So 0 will come to B, but here what I need is the new value, right? So new value, obviously I need to save it in a variable, otherwise I cannot give it to B, right? So I need an extra variable here. So consider C. Okay. So what I will do, I will first add the two numbers and store it in C. Okay. Then I will replace this with C. Okay. And then consider now I have C here. Okay. I have B here and I have A here. Okay. Now what I need, in the place of C, I will have B, right? Like B equal to C. I can give B equal to C. Okay. And after that, A equal to B. Okay. So B equal to C and A equal to B. So consider even removing this. So here, if you see, I am printing it and I'm having B equal to C and A equal to B. But here the problem is, once I change the value of B, the B value gets changed and both will be same here. So what I'm doing here, I need to use temp, because before changing the value of B, I need to save the value of B in the temp. Okay, so I will save it in temp. Then in A, so in the A, I will give temp. And after doing that, consider I'm printing it. So I'll run this. So here if you see 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. So totally 8 numbers are printed in the Fibonacci series. So we need to make sure your time complexity, your space complexity, all in a confined manner. Here, after writing the program, the first thing you need to check, is there any unused variables? If there is any, please remove it. Here, I think we don't have any unused variables. So we are clear with the space complexity. And we have the next thing called time complexity. Okay. Time complexity, those who have studied the basic data structure, they would have know what is big O notation, what is big theta notation, what is big omega notation. So those who are not aware of data structures, I will clarify you guys. It is like finding the time taken for running your program. Obviously, there will be some minor changes in your running your program. For example, consider there are two programs. One program takes around 40 counts. Consider one count is like based on your processor. One count in, for example, in the latest processors like AMZ Ryzen 7 or in Ryzen 9 5th gen, in those things it will take only 1 nanosecond. In some older processor, it may take into the 1 microsecond. But normally we will use this count because the time varies based on the processor, but normally we use this count. So here, if you see this for loop, how many times it ran actually, this for loop? Can someone tell me?
6 times, sir.
6 times, right? So this for loop ran 6 times. And in 6 times, how many statements are there inside this for loop? How many lines of statements are inside the for loop?
5.
5. So 6 times 5 statements got executed. So it will be like 6 into 5, 30. So your count will be 30. Okay. So 30 plus, there is a line out. There are 2 lines outside the statements. So consider 2. 32. Okay. So consider for this main function to execute, you need 32 counts. Okay. This is the basic time complexity. But later on, they have evolved that and take only the basic difference for each solution. For example, this program, it actually took only 32 counts. But as I previously told, if you have made this printf statement inside the for loop and made this as 8 counts, okay, so this has taken 32 counts, right? Now what I'm doing, I will have like this 0 less than 8. I'm not printing this A and B here. What I will do, I will have like, if I equal to 0, else if I equal to 1, else okay, if I equal to 0, printf %t comma a equal to 1, printf %t comma b. Running this 30-second long. Sorry, the previous count was 32. Now also it is giving the same output, but the difference is the A and B value I am printing inside the for loop. Okay. Now, can someone give me the what is the count of this particular program? Total count. Previous program's total count is 32. What will be the count for this program? Any guess is fine. Not
81.
81. Okay, 81. Okay, 81 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
40, sir.
40. Okay. Any other guess? The person who said 81, I think you have included the conditional statement as a statement. So maybe because of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So totally you would have taken 10 lines inside for loop. So 10 into 8, 80, 81, right? But normally the statement execution for each loop needs to be determined in the runtime. That means, for example, first time it comes inside the for loop. Okay, when it comes inside the first time the for loop, actually how many statements will get executed? For example, if it is I in the I0 scenario, how many statement actually will get executed? Can someone tell me? When it is I equal to 0, when the first time we are entering the loop, how many statements will get executed only for the first time?
One statement.
Okay, because for only this if statement will execute, right? So it will never go to this else if and else part. So, and we need to take this conditional statement as 1 and printf statement as 2. So there are 2 statements. Okay, so the first time if it enters the loop, it is 2 count. Then second time also 2 counts, because it will go to the else if part. So this will take as 1 statement. This is next statement. It won't go to the else part. So totally 2. And for the remaining 6 statements, it will come to the else part. So in else, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, else within else it is 6. So 6 into 6, which is 36. So we have actually 40, which is the person 2 said is correct, but we need to include the int statement, which is this. So totally 41. Okay, so for executing this program we need 41 count. For the previous program we need only 32 counts. If you take, the difference is just 9 counts. Okay, so it will be like very minimal in like the change is very minimal if you take in the time perspective. But consider if the change is dramatic, like 41 like this, and this only takes 32, then obviously we need to consider the change. In the previous change, it is not, it's not like a big change, so we don't need to consider the optimization here. But if there is a difference, if it is a lot of difference, if there is a lot of difference in counts, then we need to change, then we need to consider that optimization. So that is why people have like removed this count concept, and they have came up with a new thing called like big O notation. There are many O notations, but the frequently used is big O notation. What is the big O notation is, if there is a change in the variable power instead of constant power, then obviously you can consider that as an optimization. What is that variable power? What is that constant power? Variable power is like, for example, if you are writing a program that takes, ultimately if you see here, these are all you are adding those 2 lines. Like inside the for loop, you are adding these 2. For the first execution, you are adding these 2 lines, 15 and 16. For the second execution, you are adding this 18 and 19 line. For the third execution, you are adding the 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26th line. Okay. So for each execution, you are making an addition operation. Okay. For example, if you are adding two numbers, 3 plus 3, and if you are multiplying two numbers, 3 into 3, the change will be huge. For 3, maybe it is small, but for example, if you take two numbers by like 16 plus 16, which is 32, but 16 into 16 is 256. So normally when compared to addition, multiplication has more power. So that's why they have used this multiplication, division, and exponential. What are all the two operators we need to keep an eye on is multiplication, division, and exponential. These three operators are having a huge impact in time complexity. So normally if you see here, only looping statements will have this multiplication thing, because only if you are using loop, you will actually multiply the statements inside it with the number of times in the loop. Okay, so normally they won't consider the statements inside the loop. They will consider how many times the loops getting executed and how many loops are getting executed. Okay, for example, here don't consider the statements, just tell me how many times the loop is getting executed. 8 times, right? So the if we want to print 10 numbers, we need to execute the loop 10 times, right? So it is purely based on your input. If you are giving 10, then obviously you need to print 10 numbers. So obviously you need to run the loop 10 times. If it is 12, you need to run 12 times. So if it is n, you need to run the for loop for n times. Okay. So your count will be n count. And it is also denoted as order of n. So the time complexity of this problem is order of n. Okay. Everyone is clear how we are deriving this time complexity for a particular program? Earlier, it is based on the number of lines or number of statements and number of each executions, but later they have fed up with the previous approach, like we don't need to count each statements as the difference were very minimal, so it doesn't need that another approach for an optimization. So they came up with three operators which are having huge impact on performance, which is multiplication, division, and exponential operations. And the looping statement offers multiplication operation. So for recent times, they are considering only the looping statements mostly. And if there is any recursion statements, that we will come up with later, but for now, looping statements are the major roles, plays a major role in calculating the time complexity. And for this program, the time complexity is order of n, or n times execution, you can also tell, because for a program, you just need to consider loops and recursions. Everyone got it? Because in most of the product companies, they will ask what is the time complexity of your program, and you should be able to tell them what is the time complexity. And usually you will tell with order of n or order of many things, order of n square, order of n cube, order of n log n. Log n is also one component, order of log n, order of n by 2. Many things are there. Everyone is clear, or someone having any doubts till now? Till now we have covered was one simple problem, Fibonacci series, and with how to calculate time complexity. Everyone is clear? Shall we move to next topic? If you have any doubts, you can also ping me later on. So, or else you can ask now also. Okay. We will move to next topic. So here we got to know how to calculate time complexity for a given program. So consider I need to print both odd and even numbers. Okay, I need to print both odd and even numbers. And for now, what I'm doing is, just a minute. Sorry guys, there was a meeting. Yeah, as I told, what I was saying, yeah, printing both odd and even numbers at the same time. So like first we need to print all the even numbers and we need to print all the odd numbers with the given number. For example, if I give 50, I need to first print all the even numbers from 0 to 50. Then I need to print all the odd numbers from 0 to 50. So normally what I will do, for example, I will have a for loop. Okay, I will have int I equal to 0 and I is less than 50 and I plus plus. Okay, now what I will do, if I is y percentage 2 equal to 0, then print this number. Okay, so this will print all the even numbers. Okay, now what I will do, I will print all the odd numbers. So I'll have another for loop, the same thing, but now it should be not equal to 0. So this will give me the odd numbers. I will print all the odd numbers. So this is how my normal logic will be, to print all the even numbers at a stretch, then all the odd numbers. So when I run this program, if you see here, first it prints from 0 to 50. Okay, then it prints from 1 to 49, which is the odd number. Okay, so can someone tell me what is the complexity here, time complexity?
More number of lines.
Sorry, more number of lines in the sense? Like you have said more number of lines, like
We are using for loop 2 times.
okay, that's what we are using for loop 2 times. So in the previous program, I told how to I have told how to calculate time complexity based on the given program, like with n or with just counts. For example, for this, don't consider the statements inside for loop, just consider the loops and tell me how many counts are getting executed in this program.
Big O of n.
Big O of n. Okay, so you mean, for example, the loop is getting executed 50 times, right? For example, if my input is 50,
Order of n square.
okay, n square, that means if my input is 50, it is getting executed 2500 times, is it? Or else consider the input is 50 here, how many times it's getting executed, how many times this program is getting executed in the loops?
50.
51.
51 or sorry, the previous person some told
Yes, 51, sir. 51 is correct.
51. Okay, how it is 51? For example, if you take the first for loop, okay, here if you see, obviously the loop, if you are seeing here, the loop is executing 50 times. The loop is executing 50 times because don't check for the if statement. I already told, don't check the statements inside the loop. Okay, check just how many times the loop is getting executed. For example, for the first time 0, it comes inside and it goes inside the if block. Next time when I equal to 1, it will come inside the loop, but it will not just go inside the if statement. You got my point? It's just skipping the if statement, but still for I equal to 1, it is getting executed inside the loop. That means for the first loop itself is getting from 0 to 50. It means 51 times, right? And the second loop also, it is getting from 0 to 50. So totally for this 51 and for this 51, totally 102 is the execution time. You guys got it? Because don't consider the statements inside for loop. It's not at all needed for the recent calculation. For the recent calculation, we just need how many times the loop is getting executed. We don't care about the statements inside the loop, whether the statements are getting inside, whether the statements are getting executed or not. We don't care. We just care about the how many times that the loop is getting executed. In this scenario, totally 1 or 2 times the loops are getting executed. Consider n is 50 because the input is 50. How we can fabricate this 1 or 2? For the first time it's n plus 1, right? The next time it's n plus 1. So it's like n plus 1 plus 1, which is 2n plus 2. This is the formula. You guys got it? How we got this 2n plus 2? For the first time, it will print n plus 1 because if it is 50, 50 plus 1, if it is 51, 51 plus 2, 52. So it is like executing 1 times more. So now we have fabricated this 2n plus 2 formula for this program. Does anyone have any doubts how we got this 2n plus 2? It is not big O notation. It is just representing the counts. We still haven't got into big O notation.
அண்ணா புரியலண்ணா இன்னொரு வாட்டி சொல்றீங்களா?
Okay. What I was telling is, if you see here, this is the for loop. Okay. Just for now, remove this 2 lines. Okay. When you are seeing this, can you tell me the first for loop, how many times this for loop is get executed?
50 times.
Is it 50 or 51? Because starting from 0 and ending in 50. You got it? It is starting from 0 and ending in 50, like less than or equal to.
అది ఓకే మళ్ళీ ఏమంటే చెప్పాడు అంటే ఇప్పుడు నైట్ కాబట్టి
Okay, it is less than or equal to 50. So I'm starting from 0 and I is less than or equal to 50. If I give less than 50, then it is right 50 times. I have given less than or equal to, then it is executing 1 times more than less than 50. So that means it is 51, right? You got clear how this particular loop is executing 51 times?
Yes, bro.
So if it is 50, my execution for this loop is 51. If it is 60, how much is the execution? How much times it will execute?
61.
61. Okay. So based on my input, if it is n, it will be n plus 1, right? For this loop.
Yes, bro.
Okay. Same for this loop, n plus 1.
Okay.
So it will be like totally n plus 1 for the first loop plus n plus 1 for the second loop. Okay. So when we do this calculation, it will be 2n plus 2. Now you got it?
Ah, yes, bro.
Okay. Does anyone have any doubt in this till now? How we calculated 2n plus 2 formula? Okay. Okay, cool. So 2n plus 2 is the count. Can we reduce this? As I already told, when taking time complexity as an account, people mostly focuses on your multiplication, division, and exponential properties. If you see here, plus 2, we can neglect this because this won't cause that much difference if we are going to optimize. But still, we cannot neglect the product which is here. Okay. Even still, we can neglect this since the 2 is a constant. It won't lead you to a big change in performance, but still we can actually reduce the time taken. But still it's a big thing. Like for example, instead of 2n, if we are able to achieve this with n, it is a big thing, right? For example, now for 50 it's taking 100 times, but with n it will take only 50 times. For example, if any problem with 10,000 times with 2n, it will take only 5,000 times with n. We can neglect the 5,000 counts, like half of the count. So can anyone tell me in any way we can reduce this 2n with n by changing this code? Can we achieve this with only one loop? Is there a way to reduce the is there a way to optimize it from 2n to n?
Else,
Hello?
sir, can else be used? Sir?
Else, okay. For example, we are removing this for loop, and in else part, consider I'm giving printf, but the output will be different. Why I'm saying it's different is after 0, here 2 won't be printed, it will be 1. Literally 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 till 50. My use case is first it needs to print all the even numbers from 0 to 50. Then only it should print all the odd numbers from 0 to 50. Okay. But by this program, we won't find this separation. If I run this, if you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like see here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Simply it's printing all the numbers. But my use case is different. I need to print all the even numbers first. Then I need to print all the odd numbers. So can we reduce the time complexity from 2n to n? Is it possible? Can someone tell me? Anyone have any idea? Okay. Okay. So here, if you see, the loop is executing, the first loop is executing n plus 1 times, right? And the second loop is executing n plus 1 times. If I reduce this from n plus 1 to n by 2, and also this n plus 1 by 2, n by 2, n by 2 plus n by 2 will be n, right? So that will actually decrease from 2n to n. For example, here, instead of incrementing by 1, I will increment by 2. And I don't need this if statement, I will just print it. So this will print 0 to 50 only with even number, as it increases by 2 times every time it increases by 2. So after printing 0, it prints 2, then 4. In the same way, here I will start from 1, okay, and I will execute within 50, and I will increase it by I equal to I plus 2. Here also I don't need this if block. So now I will run this. If you see here, the output is similar. You got it? How I changed this program? In this, if you see, the loop is executing the first loop. Can someone tell me how many times this loop gets executed? Only the first loop. How many times it will get executed?
51.
51. Okay. Okay. The first loop, what is the first output? 0, right? The first output, the I will be 0, so output will be 0. Okay. Next time, what is the I value?
2.
2. Okay. Next time, 4. Next time, 6, 8, 10. Like that, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 44, 46, 48, 50. So if you see here, 0, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. How many numbers are there here totally?
20.
How many?
25.
25.
25.
26.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 26. Okay. So it means the loop is got executed 26 times. It's not 51. Because each time we are incrementing by 2 times. Previously we are incrementing by 1 time. That's why it was 51. But now, since we are incrementing by 2 times, the loop's getting cutted by 2, like the divided operator. Previously n plus 1. Previously it was n plus 1 for the loop. Now it's 26, which means if it is n plus 1, it is like n by 2 plus 1. So n is 50, 50 by 2, 25, 25 plus 1, 26. Now it's 26. Previously it is 51. The same way for the second loop also. For the second loop also, but for the second loop, can someone tell me how many times it's getting executed?
25 times.
25.
Okay, 25. Why it is 25?
Less than or equal to less.
Yeah, equal to it's not there. So it is less than 50, right? So it is actually it is not 25, I think 24. Let me check. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35, 37, 39, 41, 43, 45, 47, 49. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, 25. Sorry. Okay, cool. So it is 25. So for the second loop, it is just n by 2. Okay. So for the first loop, it is n by 2 plus 1. For the second loop, it is n by 2. So n by 2 plus 1 plus n by 2. Right? So it will be like 2n by 2 plus 1, which is n plus 1. So the program execution count is n plus 1 for this, but for the previous problem, it is 2n plus 2. For now, for this, it is n plus 1. Everyone got how we get this n plus 1 this program? Or anyone having any doubt? For the previous problem, how many why we got this 2n plus 2? For this problem, why we got this n plus 1? Everyone is clear? Or does anyone have any doubt? Because you should be able to find the time complexity, since if you are not able to find the time complexity, obviously you cannot optimize your program. So we got two solutions for this, printing even number and odd number. The first solution took 2n plus 2 times, and the second solution which I wrote now is took n plus 1 times. So drastically we reduced a lot here. For example, if this program takes 10,000 times to run a program, this program will take only 5,000 times. Okay, this is how you need to implement your optimization. At least it needs to cut off a product with some constant. As I said, we can remove this plus constants. So if you see here, I have removed 2 into, like 2 into n, right? So I have removed it. I have removed this 2 into in the next complexity. Okay, so your optimization, at least it should be act like this. It should behave like this. Got it? Everyone understood this, or anyone having any doubt? If you're having any doubt, you can also ping me, DM me separately. It's not a problem. So till now we saw 2 problems, basic problems, and also we saw how to calculate time complexity, and how to, in the second problem, we actually saw literally how to optimize the solution which is given. As I already told, we can have many solutions for a problem, but whichever solution acts best will be optimized, like which is considered as an optimistic solution. And most of the product companies looks for your optimistic solution, not just solution, because obviously in the service sector, they will just look for your solution and they will hire you. But if you want to get placed in some top MNC product based companies, obviously they will check for the optimized solution. You as a fresher, they won't expect you to know about any latest frameworks like React, Angular, or Node.js, or even in Java. If you, they won't expect you to know Spring framework or Spring Boot, Hibernate. Those are all just for the experienced colleagues. For you guys, for freshers, they will just look for the program, like your problem solving skills in the programs. So they will just look for how actually you're solving your program, what is the approach, and whether the approach is very optimistic or not, everything. So that's why I'm majorly concentrating on your core programming skills and also your data structure and algorithms. If you want to get placed, concentrate on these rather than concentrating on fancy frameworks. Obviously, knowing other frameworks are good, but after doing, after getting experience in this, then only you should go there. Before that, please don't do that. First, finish this. First, concentrate on this. First, develop your skills on this. Then you can move on those to those fancy frameworks. Okay, I think we can end the session now. If you guys have any doubts, you can ping me, or you can ping in the group also. I'll be clarifying it. I have recorded the session. Go through this session one more time. And if you have any doubts, maybe tomorrow we can solve that and we can continue the session. Tomorrow we can join in the same time, 7 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.